All right, so this is gonna be my wall sit series. There's so much work we can do on a wall. The next video is gonna be all planks. So wall sit is we want to, heels are never gonna be completely against the wall, but we wanna make sure as we go against the wall that we're maintaining those natural curves. So neck is away from the wall, mid back is on the wall, low back is off the wall, sacrum is on the wall. Hips are in neutral, so you're not posteriorly tilting or anteriorly tilting. Okay, and notice what happens to my knees when I do that. This is an exercise I would give clients who are really struggling to understand anterior tilt versus posterior tilt. But most of us are aware of what our knees are doing more than our hips. So when I posterior tilt, notice my knees are kind of bent, and I anterior tilt, and my knees go really hyperextended for my body, or at least straight. And then when I'm in neutral, they're in neutral. My knees are in neutral. So your hips your hip position very much dictates what's happening in your knees and what's happening moving up. But this is a good way to kind of play with that, because your knees you cannot posteriorly tilt against a wall and not have your knees bent. Okay, where you can, it's a little less obvious when you're away from a wall. Okay, so great exercise if you're still having a little bit of trouble tuning into the subtleties of posterior, anterior, neutral. Okay, so wall sit. We've probably all done a wall sit at some point in time, and is basically this. Now, the common mistakes that moms will make, or just people in general, is they really jam their back onto the wall, and by jamming their back onto the wall, they don't have to use their core as much. They can just jam pressure in, get stability they need to hold the sit. It's still helpful for the legs doing that, but you're losing the core benefit. So making sure you're maintaining that neutral spine. Your head does not need to be on the wall, but your sacrum and mid back should be, and you should have a nice little space in your low back. Now, wall sits do not need to be these 90-degree, crazy intense quad exercises. They very much should start a lot more high. So I'm even going to go higher because I'm going to show you some exercises. So just starting to hold this, you can get a block, putting it in your leg, and you can start doing some adductor squeezes. Okay, you can also, start doing some as if lifts with your legs. So I'm just going to as if lift my left leg, and I'm keeping my hands on my hips to make sure I don't tilt. Okay, there's no shifting here. Okay, I stay neutral, that low back stays off, and I'm just as if lifting my left leg, and I'm going to exhale, as if lift my right. And I'm in a pretty deep wall sit for my ability right now, so I would not be able to lift my feet off the floor right now without compensating. So I'm pushing really hard in my left leg, and I have very minimal weight in my right, and I feel that my hips want to do this. And that makes sense because my right side is actually a little bit weaker, and it needs to hold on more when I lift my right leg. Okay, whereas my left leg is really easy. I actually can lift it up. My right leg, if I try to lift it up, watch this hand. Do you see that like lift in my hip? And my left hip just dropped, and my right hip lifted. So see that little, it's not strong enough. Okay, so I shouldn't be lifting that one off, or I need to just come a little closer. Okay, so now if I do it, I'm gonna exhale and lift. And my left hip didn't drop. Dropping, when I say dropping, I mean this. This is the dropping that will occur. Okay, that's exaggerated. So by keeping your hands on those hip bones is really helpful. And left leg up, no problem. Right leg up, I have to focus. And I feel my core, my deep core being very responsive when I focus and I'm falling over, okay? So I love these, and again, life has been a little crazy lately. I have not been doing my exercises like I should. Okay, another advancement from that, of course, is like toe taps. So you come up and do toe taps here, or toe taps to the side, very challenging not to shift the hips, and come in, and same on the right. So I have to come really close to the wall, so I'm almost in a very small wall sit. Exhale, engage the core, and then go. And now I feel very stable. My low back is not pushing against the wall, and I can come over here. Okay, now I'm having to go up on my bed because small spaces. Okay, when you're doing these wall sit movements, the first place to start is just static, and then starting to do those as-ifs, and then starting to move the legs more dynamically. When done correctly with a neutral spine and conscious core engagement, this is a core exercise and a glute and hip strengthener. Great work for restoring your body in postpartum and feeling more stable and secure through your functional activities.